Hello there. I am reaching Nexus, and this is No Man's Sky, Sci-Fi story time. This is a story by a subreddit user on a writing prompt subreddit, and the user was Toppo, T-O-P-P-O, and the writing prompt was for a science fiction story, and the author stated that English was not even his first language, and I found that quite impressive given the quality of the writing. And this was the first time that Toppo had ever responded to a writing prompt, which made it even more interesting. I selected this particular sci-fi story because it reminds me of No Man's Sky. It reminds me of the Galactic Hub project, and wow, I like the little vents now. That's new. I didn't have those effects before. It's pretty. And I thought I would share this with the No Man's Sky community. Unfortunately, I decided to do it up against the Emmys. Apparently, people are either playing No Man's Sky or watching the Emmys or getting ready for their day. Check it out. I got Spidonium, or I guess it's not anymore. Now it's Echinocactus. But it's growing here on a toxic planet because I planted it before the reboot. Let me get in and out of this storm to read. So here we go. While we wait for the storm to pass, the story begins. Without a strong central government, space was wild. The Planetary Union could not enforce sanctions nor punishments, so breaches of interplanetary treaties were dealt with by issuing letters of protest. What was out there was largely finders keepers. Space exploration was the trade of greedy. Asteroids and dwarf planets, rich in rare elements, were the most common valuable finds. Planets and moons with suitable gravity were nice too. Saves on the artificial gravity costs when establishing colonies. Sometimes explorers would find life and sell those coordinates to biotech corporations and guilds. Some explorers were greedy for power and established colonies to build their own utopias, to rule as kings and queens. Human trafficking, unregulated gambling, drugs, biohacks, weapons, and neural coding were popular among these colonies. Sure, scientists, like archaeologists, biologists, and planetary scientists had interests in exploring the galaxy, discovering whatever might be out there. But as the crumbling Planetary Union had more pressing issues than advancing scientific knowledge, science for the sake of science wasn't exactly the most profitable profession. Most scientists had given up on their scientific pursuits of unraveling the secrets of the universe and the origin of humanity, instead of offering their services to those willing to pay more than the negligible grants of the Planetary Union. It's kind of an interesting opening to a story, sort of a dystopian, sort of a, I guess, a libertarian vision of colonization of space. Everyone for themselves. I mean, I guess the fact that there was a planetary union implies that at one point there was a central government governing the expansion of humans into space. But then once they got there, it became wild. I don't know if I like that vision, but it does sort of match up with how people are colonizing in No Man's Sky. It starts out, people go to the hub, and at first they're all excited. They stick with the naming, and then they start to branch off, form new kingdoms, new civilized space on the edge, on the fringes. A little place to call their own. There's a new critter. What the heck is that? Look at that thing. It's a jumping ball sack. That's disgusting. Oh, I scared it. Huh. That's insane. That's probably a predator. Oh no, it's cautious. Huh. Look at that weird... that is so strange looking. Need a picture for that one, Boone. Where'd he go? Did he go into the water? Has it just vanished? I lost it. Took off. Oh, there's some kind of walking bear over there now. What are those? An unconcerned teddy bear. Look at these guys. It's a hamster. Sorta. Big crazy plate. Oh, I'm sharing my planet with some really odd things now. Holy cow, look at these. They've got beaks. How strange is that? Look at what's become of my planet. What are those? Giant squid on the mountain. Can't handle it. It's too much. I'm gonna continue the story as I walk through this group of creatures here. In addition to my engineer Dree and my computer scientist Maya, my current expedition had 2 natural scientists on board. Charles, a chemist who specialized in quantum spectroscopy, and Kajel, a planetary composition researcher. Their job on my ship was to interpret and validate data we gathered from whatever plants and rocks we bumped into. Their research helped to sell the coordinates of these valuable locations. For them, working for an explorer like me was the best chance to believe they were still working for a noble cause. I admit, I didn't really care. Oh, I lost my place. I admit, I didn't really care for the dreams of scientists. I was one of the greedy, hunting out treasures. And I mean really greedy. I already had enough money to retire to some remote asteroid, to spend the rest of my decades living in luxury, sipping drinks, watching comets crash into gas giants. Still, every time I sold the coordinates to some new rock, the sight of a successful transfer of units to my account made me very happy. This is real greed, money for the sake of money. I enjoyed it almost as much as I enjoyed navigating the dark corners of our galaxy. Those dark corners, the Milky Way had a lot of them. 400 billion stars spanning hundreds of thousands of light years. Humanity wouldn't run out of new worlds to find for a long, long time. But never did I imagine we would find something like H1056. guys are cool. I love these little critters. Little split tail. Wonder if my system has changed factions. Didn't think to check. Look at this little tidal pool. Gotta restock my toxin suppression here. To be careful not to get distracted and lose track of that now. There's actually two different things here to scan. What was that? What did I hear? Perhaps I heard my oxygen protection running out. Not sure. I suppose I can cope with this. What's become of my world? It's actually not bad. It's not great. Looks better in the daylight, that's for sure. It's really odd looking though. So many creatures to see. Giant shell there. I should probably be traveling in my exocraft. I don't know why I'm not. Didn't think to. I don't know. I'll get back to the story here. Just a moment. It says it was almost an accident, really. And I have to thank Kajel for that. We're in the mid-rim sector, 324 of the Milky Way. Near the mid-rim sector 330. Sector 330 didn't have much interest for explorers. It was rather remote and had a smaller star density than Spiral Arms. Probably there wasn't much to find there either, as according to some archaeologists, many of the star systems in that sector had already been exploited thousands of years ago. Perhaps these archaeological views were what prompted Kajel to point our instruments to 330. He should have been monitoring our current sector, 324, but instead he claimed the lower density of stars at 330 were more suitable for calibration. I didn't interfere, and I'm glad I didn't. The computer notified us that the stellar luminosity of a distant main sequence yellow dwarf called H105 decreased just a fraction. We were witnessing a transit event, a planet crossing over the disk of the star. Kjell and Charles were quick to analyze the spectral variation in the light and the size and composition of the transiting planet. Reading the results, they regressed into children who had just gotten a new toy. First, I didn't understand, out of their technical discussion, what was going on, but in their joy they were quick to share with me. The transiting planet was a rocky planet, with mass indicating gravity very likely suitable for humans. While that was not exceptional, the combination with the orbit and atmosphere deduced from spectral variation was the planet orbited in the habitable zone of a star, and the atmosphere was largely nitrogen, harmless to humans, and about a quarter of the atmosphere being oxygen, breathable, and a sign of potential life as we know it and define it. Significant amounts of water vapor and carbon dioxide were also detected. No indications of dangerous levels of other gases were observed. Unlike this planet is covered in dangerous gases. Certainly not a suitable planet by the standards of this story. There's those little weird guys. My goodness, you are strange. Like a giant bouncing 4-ball sack. Even stranger. Like that eye, though. Big, empty, glassy eye. It's quite a lens. Must have really good vision in the rain and at night. Interesting. Everything here is a known creature now. I'm gonna let my life support run out, being distracted as I am. So where were we? Potentially habitable and living planets like this are extremely rare and valuable. Only a handful have been found and wars have been fought over them. I saw a business opportunity. Kjell and Charles saw scientific discovery. It was clear to us that we had a new destination. I informed Dre and Maya about a change in plans and told them to reconfigure drives to jump to star system H-105, near the detected planet. While in jump space, we searched the vast planetary union. Oh, I'm gonna have to get indoors. Please forgive me. I have to find a safe place. I'll get back to this. Set up in this cave. There we go. Oh. I must have walked into a vine. Or probably just because I fell earlier. My health isn't looking so good now. I'll just stay here a minute. Where was I? Ah, yes. While in jump space, we searched the vast Planetary Union database for information about the system H-105. Nothing exceptional, just basic information about the star. No records of anyone visiting there or observing this planet. Planetary Union database was of course incomplete, having been ravaged over several data wars. But nothing indicated that anyone had visited this planet or this system in a millennia. I again felt the excitement of wandering into the dark and seeing something no one has seen before, the very excitement that kept me exploring space. Again, there's another passage from this story that makes me think of No Man's Sky. That's sort of the allure, at least for me, to No Man's Sky, is finding that place that no one else has seen, and seeing it, perhaps broadcasting it. There are some places I don't share. It's funny to think that this story was written 2 years ago, before anyone had played No Man's Sky. I suppose people may have been talking about it back then. My health is dangerously low now. I've walked into the open. Get to this little hole here for the night. Where was I? Arriving in system H105, we noted there were 8 planets and a few dwarf planets. Our target planet was the 6th looking in from stellar space, so it was designated H1056. Other planets were 3 rocky planets with H1056 in the inner system, and 2 gas giants and 2 ice giants in the outer system. While we have yet to encounter advanced civilizations in our galaxy, we decided to be careful when getting closer to H1056. We approached from the night side and carefully observed the planet. There were no lights in the night sky, no signs of civilization. Likewise, atmospheric metering did not give any real indication of gases which might tell of technologically advanced activity, merely trace amounts of some radioactive elements and more complex chemicals that could be the result of some unknown natural process. Other than a relatively large moon, the planet had no satellites, natural or artificial. We deemed it safe to orbit to the light side of the planet. It was beautiful. I've seen several ocean planets, and H1056 wouldn't have stood out were it not for the continents covered in vast green terrains. It was the kind of green our engineered plants of recreational spaces and terraformed colonies had. If the green terrain was similar to our plants, there must have been similar evolution with our ancestral plants. This would make H10656 truly exceptional, and perhaps one of the most valuable findings in living memory. I began to feel very proud. I think I'm going to call my precious over to me and see what else is going on my new, quite strange to me world. As usual, my thrusters are not charged. Come to me, my precious. There she is. I'm gonna have to start collecting plutonium. So I haven't flown my precious since the update. Hopefully she does well. Seems to be relatively responsive. See, before I had marked a portal with that purple marker. We'll see if it stayed. Seems a lot farther away now. Or I guess maybe its label is covered. Seems a lot farther from my base than it was before, too. That's weird. Alright, so while we travel, there's some more time for reading. Alright, I'm gonna have to go up. It was beautiful. I've seen several ocean oh, I've already read that. Excuse me. Whoa. I just did something here, hold on. Been left messages, crumbs that led me along a trail. Should I seek answers? Should I investigate these anomalies and breaches? Or should I enjoy the galaxy on my own terms and avoid whatever trouble is surely leading towards? I guess I'm gonna start the Artemis path here. Not gonna do that right now though. I'm still gonna go back to my portal here, or what used to be my portal. We entered the atmosphere. Well, that's a fitting place to be regaining the story here. We entered the atmosphere in the northern hemisphere where the temperature seemed reasonable and continents were more common. From the altitude of several kilometers, we still were unable to detect any signs of civilization. The planet, however, was filled with life. No question about it. Instruments again confirmed the atmosphere was completely breathable for humans. As an explorer, I was eager to get to the surface, and the childish excitement of Kjell and Charles had overrun their scientific wariness of potential dangers. They too wanted to walk the surface. After all, we had weapons and suits to survive in hostile environments, so some risk-taking was acceptable for these undiscovered lands. Flying over the vast green terrains, we marveled at the life of the planet. I've seen several planets with life, but this was the first one that made an impression on me. Usually, life is ugly, dirty colors and unpleasant forms. Here, there were majestic brown pillars covered in dark green, towering directly into the clear blue sky. They reminded me of trees in the colony gardens, like a childhood memory. We put our protective suits on and took some weapons, just in case. Charles had his gram meter to analyze local organisms, and Kjell didn't really have anything to do outside, but wanted to tag along to experience this world firsthand. One could say the same for me too, but I had the excuse of being the leader of this expedition. I don't recall this portal being so far from my base. If it's still a portal, it's probably not. Just gonna jump up into space, get there a little bit faster, and then we'll get back to the story. Be really nice if this was still a portal. With all the changes, though, I don't expect it to be. Won't even be disappointed. Took me forever to find a portal on this planet, though. Looks like it might still be above ground. I mean, above water, so that's good. Dry land. Or maybe not. Might be underwater. Hey, Anthead, how you doing? Good to have you aboard. About halfway through the story, unfortunately. But it'll be available on the replay. This used to mark my portal on my home world in survival. Now it marks a base. Oh well. The black one used to mark a monolith. We can go there next. Let's see what it is. It's always so interesting when they reset the galaxy. That red marker used to mark the North Pole. As you can see, it's way off now. Can pick that one up, I suppose. The rain on this planet is never ending. Just gonna set down here next to the water. Still have some creatures to find. Back to the story. The ship landed safely on an opening in what I would describe as a forest, and I told Dre and Maya to shut down the engines. We wouldn't want to draw any attention, any more than necessary, of course. Together with Charles and Kajel, we stood in front of the entryway, waiting for it to open. It always took painstakingly long, and seemed like an eternity, since we had so much to wait for. I heard a creature. Let me just make sure it's one that I've already found. Some pressure locks opening, steam bursting, a blade of natural light cutting the interior. Watching the ramp lower in front of us into the light felt like being reborn. We stepped into the light outside. Except the ship making some slight adjustment sounds. It was relatively silent. No turbulent winds, just soft breezes. A breeze that swayed colorful dots in the opening. They looked like flowers, flowers of all shades. Shapes, colors, stars, bells, blades, tubes, like a child would have let his imagination run free. In the midst of the silence, we suddenly heard music, distant, strange music coming from the forest. Perhaps there was intelligent life on this planet after all. I grabbed my weapon and approached the edge of the forest and yelled, "Hey!" The music stopped. I took a few steps, and to my surprise, the music flew towards me. It was an animal, a singing animal, which was flying. It sounded like 100 songs sung, and I wanted to follow it and listen to its song. So now the story is getting interesting. I'm in trouble here. I haven't been paying attention. Be a knowledge stone here somewhere. I saw it on my scanner. There it is. I'm gonna sit here and look at the ocean for a minute. Get back to the story. This planet did not frighten me. It did not disgust me, like unknown life usually does. This planet felt like home, a place to live in, a place to die in. For some reason, I had the irrational feeling that I trust this place. If one can even trust places. But I trusted this place. Charles took a sample of a flower to analyze with the gram meter. When the results came in, his childish excitement turned into a blank stare, as if he was watching past the meter. I asked him what it was about. Was something wrong? It cannot be, he spoke to himself, half frightened, half excited. In the end, not knowing what to feel, his behavior also drew the attention of Kjell. This flower, it has DNA, and it's related to us, Charles uttered. Kjell didn't seem impressed. Well, of course there's some contamination on the gram meter. It's detecting our contamination, obviously, said Kjell. Charles took a different kind of flower, then a third, a fourth, a fifth. He analyzed all of them. And every time, it came back with our DNA. We share a DNA with all of these plants. Now Kjell seemed to be on the brink of a realization. He gazed around us and up to the blue sky and the sun, then to the crescent moon, and then it dawned on him. He grabbed his comms and contacted Maya. It's Kjell here. I need some information about the star system. While traveling here, did we get any measurements of the orbital year and stellar day of H1056? And the time it takes for the moon to orbit? Let me check. I'll be right back to you, Maya replied. Charles, Kjell, and I all stood petrified, waiting for the final confirmation of what we dare not to think. Maya here, you'll never believe this. The orbital year of H1056 is a little bit over 365 days. Meaning the orbital year of H1056 is approximately 1 year. The solar day of H1056 is about 24 hours, meaning the solar day of H1056 is approximately 1 day. And the moon orbits H1056 once every 30 days, meaning one orbit of the moon takes approximately 1 month. I heard Dre saying, "Holy shit," in the background. Charles repeated it. Kjell did not know what to say, so he too repeated. Then Charles and Kjell burst into boundless excitement and joy. This is the Earth. This is the Earth. That's why everything is genetically related to us. This is where we evolved. This is where humanity was born. They both rejoiced, frolicking in the meadows, picking the flowers, smelling the grass. I didn't rejoice. I couldn't, for I saw something familiar in their eyes, something I have recognized in the eyes of many other people, including myself. I saw the greed in their eyes. Not greed for money, but greed for fame, for glory, for merit, for respect. Greed for a place among scientists like Galilei, Newton, Einstein, Rahai. While Charles and Cajell were busy with their excitement, I took off my helmet. Was it wise? Perhaps not, but as I said, I already trusted this planet. I trusted the Earth. I had trusted it before I knew where we were. The soft breeze blew out the damp air in my suit, and a kaleidoscope of sweet smells and scents filled my nose, even though I had not even inhaled yet. And when I inhaled, it felt like for the first time I was using my lungs. The air felt like a pillow you could lie your cheek onto, and the wind was like a cool blanket to crawl under. I don't even know what I have here.
No free slots in ship inventory.
I don't remember collecting all of this stuff. There they are. Yeah, I did it. There's nothing you can do about it. Where was I? Alright, back to our story. I felt that for all my life, I had not really enjoyed exploring the unexplored. Rather, I had been searching for a place to call home. All those planets and star systems, none of them mattered anymore. I had seen them, been there, but they were not mine, and I filled that hole with money. But this place felt like home. It was my home. I looked at Charles and Cajell again, and as they trampled the meadow in joy, I saw the future. Planet Earth, our home, rediscovered. Rediscovered by humanity. A political tool for the Planetary Union, to use for propaganda, to strengthen its influence. Power-hungry explorers... Oh, hold on. Gotta recharge my exosuit here. Political tool for the Planetary Union to use for propaganda to strengthen its influence. Power-hungry explorers establishing legal colonies, biotech corporations and guilds exploiting and dissecting animals and plants in order to utilize their related biochemistry. War. War on who controls the earth. War on who gets it all. War on who destroys it all before competitors get it. And I saw in the eyes of Kjell and Charles that their greed for fame and recognition was boundless. And this discovery would not be held a secret. Oh, I'm gonna have to seek shelter here. I was hoping for a cave. What are you? Look like you're not gonna hurt me. I still got my plasma grenades. I'm gonna go old school here. Hidey hole.
Toxic protection. Stabilizing.
Looks like night's falling. Just stay here. Let the storm pass. Let's continue the story. I had removed my protective suit completely to feel free. In the forest I stumbled upon a small creek. Clear water ran in it, and I let it wash the blood off of my hands. And the blood diluted in the water. Even though it was cold, it felt accepting. The bird that sung 100 songs landed on a rock on the other side of the creek. Clear water ran in it. Even though it was cold, it felt even more accepting. Like the stream, the bird didn't judge me, nor did the planet. I never claimed I was a good man, and I still don't think that I am one. But for some reason, what I did feels right. Maya, Dre, Charles, nor Kjell didn't really deserve to die. But for some reason, what I did felt right. The Earth was worth it. The Earth was worth their sacrifice. I no longer dream of a remote asteroid, watching comets fall into gas giants. I have this place. I have this place where I can watch birds fly into the sunset.
Toxic protection. Stabilizing.
I have the Earth. And that's it. Just a nice little short story. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll try and edit out some of the
Storm clearing.
excess in a little while. Many travels to you. Many decent travels. Have a wonderful day.